What is up, Crimson Tide Nation and Sooner Nation? It's your good buddies, Jackson Johnson from Alabama The Voice College Football and Josh Mahler from OU Insider and Oklahoma at The Voice College Football and the newly formed SEC Primetime Live on SEC at The Voice College Football. Let me tell you something, folks. It's going to be a wild ride as we'll be going over an early preview of the Alabama-Oklahoma matchup, which will be occurring on November 15th, 2025 at Tuscaloosa, Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium. How you doing today, good buddy?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's been a good week. It's getting closer to college football season, so can't complain.
There we go, man. It's going to be a wild ride. It's like I'm glad Alabama Oklahoma is now a conference matchup. That's pretty cool. It's like still feels weird and great at the same time to say it's a conference game.
Yeah, it's definitely something to get used to. It's still kind of crazy just seeing the SEC patch on those Oklahoma jerseys.
I know, right? It's going to be pretty cool. But Oklahoma, I've noticed, has really beefed up on offense throughout this offseason, through the portal, throughout everything as a whole. I mean, you've got Ott from Cal, you've got Mateer from Washington State. And besides those guys, who do we need to be looking out for on the receiving core from Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few names you could throw out there. I think the obvious ones might be, of course, if Giovanni Gibson, which apparently there's been some news that was Parker was just now mentioning earlier tonight, Parker Thune, and he was thrown out on X, and so we could see Giovanni Gibson back and going strong in practice soon. Of course, I think I just said Deion Burks. I think that's an obvious name. Isaiah Satania is a guy that transferred in from Arkansas that Oklahoma fans are excited to see, and specifically returning punts. I think he's an electric guy back there. But then a guy that maybe you can watch out for that keeps on getting more and more buzz as it gets closer to the season is Elijah Thomas, a young freshman wide receiver that is just from reports from inside practices running circles around a lot of guys and specifically comparing them to other wide receivers. And so the amount of hype that has been thrown in from him, from Emmett Jones and all these guys that are, all the coaching staff and all the guys that are in practices from the media and stuff like that are talking about these guys that are looking good in fall camp right now. Elijah Thomas might be a guy to watch out for when you talk about the receiving core.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Oklahoma Sooners throughout the 2025 season. And the way I'm looking at it, it's going to be a whole lot better than where it was last year. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, good things are coming. Good things are coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. We try to be cautious around Norman saying this, but it can't be worse, right?
Oh man, it's funny because it's true.
Yeah,
Oh man, good grief, it's so funny. But yeah, like the fact that you got Ben Arbuckle from Washington State, like that's a huge win right there. Strike while the iron's hot, I always
hmm
say.
yeah. I think bringing in Ben Arbuckle was definitely a great hire. It was definitely one of the best hires you could have done, especially with the names that were on the board and the names that were being thrown out there. Felt like they were okay. Ben Arbuckle felt like you hit the nail on the head, and then of course being able to get him, bring in Coach K. And I'm not going to butcher his name. I always just call him Coach K as the quarterbacks coach to bring along with him from Washington State, and then John Mateer on top of it, which you mentioned a moment ago. That's just a trio bringing all of them in together to work in on one specific system, to keep them in the same system, just switching all of them over to a new team with some better weapons around them. There's a lot of good things to be looking at there with bringing Ben Arbuckle over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what will happen, but I'll be honest, and I've talked about this with a few other people. This is gonna sound like a weird comparison, but I've compared the 2025 Oklahoma Sooners to the 2011 Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's a really good comparison too when you think about it. You got a coach that's kind of that seat's getting warm, and he's got to switch something up for the 11 Tigers. That's whenever you needed to switch things up on the defensive side of the ball, and ironically enough, involved Brent Venables, and and then being able to switch up that defensive side of the ball. Now you've got Oklahoma where they had to switch something up and get something working on the offensive side of the ball. They go out and get a guy that they think could be the right hire. Everything points to the fact that he might just be that right guy in that position. And yeah, it's a really good comparison.
Yeah, because like the fact is, like Oklahoma, lost to a Group of Five team in Navy in the previous season, and we saw like Clemson losing in the Mikey Car Care Bowl against South Florida in 2010,
Yeah,
and then like we see Clemson having that huge surprising season start out with a win over Auburn, and then they beat Florida State, Virginia Tech, wind up winning the ACC. Surprisingly, not saying it'll happen with Oklahoma, but I'm just saying they got a chance to make something similar happen starting in week 2 against Michigan on Saturday night with Kirk Herbstreit and the puppy dog.
yeah. They're going to be definitely going to be there, and it's going to be an electric atmosphere for sure.
Oh, yeah. So there's all that going on, but I think 2025 can look really good for the Sooners because I mean, like we're gonna see what happens, but who do we need to look out for on the tight end? Like for those who are tuning in this video.
Yeah, for tight end, one name keeps on getting mentioned. Former linebacker Jaron Kanik. He's kind of one of those guys that I don't know how much he'll really play as a true tight end, but he's athletic, he's fast, he's quick, he's aggressive. For sure, aggressive enough to be in that tight end role. But he's had to improve and trying to learn on route running, things like that. So that's a guy that I think Oklahoma fans want to see out there, and he's also been getting a lot of buzz around, even on ESPN on the big screens, him holding up his wiener dog like a shotgun or something, and so he's been a pretty big guy to watch out for. But ultimately, I think uh, Carson Kent's probably the guy that you're going to see at tight end. I don't think Oklahoma's really feeling very solid about tight end, but I don't think Oklahoma's going to have to use the tight end too much. If you look at Ben Arbuckle's system and how he uses the tight end, he doesn't use them a whole lot. He does use them, but not nearly as often as you saw back in the Lincoln Riley days, or even with Jeff Lebby and how much he used them with Oklahoma. So uh, there's concern that there's not good enough, or maybe not a deep enough talent in that tight end room, not a very high ceiling in that tight end room. But knowing that you're not going to need them to do anything too spectacular, and then of course, younger guy it keeps on having injury issues pop up throughout his career. Caden Helms, if he could get healthy and he could come out there and show out, I think he could be that tight end that Oklahoma's been looking to get back in that room. It's just Oklahoma fans are kind of skeptical about his health and his full return.
Yeah, I mean, because like I want to see what'll happen because like you don't want to get overly reliant on Ott or a couple of the receivers. You want to make sure you got your tight ends all set and ready to rock and roll, especially for that one key moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you never want to lean too much on one guy because then it becomes too much of a load on that single guy. And of course, with injury concern, that's where that tends to pop up even more.
Oh yeah, because like when Alabama last season, there were moments where we got way too overly reliant on Ryan Williams, right?
Yeah,
And that cost us in games like against the ReliaQuest Bowl against Michigan. That's one of the many examples. And now, of course, like Bernard's returning. We got Horton. He basically heard the Tide calling for him from Miami. He's like, you know what? I'm sick of hearing about the '80s. I'm sick of hearing about the early 2000s. I want to hear about the nowadays in Tuscaloosa.
yeah,
And we got our X Factor, Brody Dalton, who came from Troy. He's going to be very happy over there. And, it's going to be awesome seeing what the receiving core at Alabama can bring.
yeah. And I think obviously starting it off with Ryan Williams, you definitely got a guy that you can look at there. But yeah, getting too one dimensional is definitely a danger. And you kind of saw that throughout the season. Teams caught on to it. I think really after that Georgia game where Ryan Williams just embarrassed them, and then teams kind of caught on and realized, hey, this kid's very special, and started covering him tight. Oklahoma was able to shut him down. I will agree with you guys that should have been a touchdown for Ryan Williams last year against Oklahoma, but it wasn't. So Oklahoma can feel good about the fact that it didn't end up going up on the board. But yeah, I think Alabama's to me too. It feels like Alabama's in a better spot with going over to Ty Simpson now. I think he fits better. I was just talking with Blake about this on SEC Primetime Live. That I feel like Simpson just fits Kalen DeBoer much better in his system.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, because like whoever was going to be the starting quarterback was going to be very happy with the
Yeah.
offense.
Oh
Because like
yeah.
Russell is going to be happy. Simpson's going to be happy. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. But I'm also kind of thinking about the offensive lines, really. Just like the Alabama offensive line should be ready and raring to go. I mean, like we're on preseason awards list. Like that's pretty cool right
Yeah.
there. So that's a good sign. But Jaden Roberts is hurt, but he should be back by that time against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And Jam Miller, I didn't even talk about Jam Miller. I forgot to talk about the running back core. I forgot to mention them. But he's back by that time Alabama plays Oklahoma because like he's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a high body injury, collarbone. But they say he could be back by Georgia, but I think it's more like he'll be back by the time Alabama plays Missouri. So that's my guess on it. But he's definitely back by the time Alabama plays Oklahoma, which is why we've got Daniel Hill, Richard Young, and Dre Washington coming in.
Yeah, and it's a loaded Alabama team always. And then of course, that you see the recruiting, they're still doing what they need to on the recruiting trail. And I think when you look at what Nick Saban built up, just because he left, I think all that Kalen DeBoer had to do, and obviously what he ended up doing was, he was able to go to recruits and just tell them this is still the same Alabama. This is still exactly what Nick Saban left behind. But now the only difference is that I'm at the helm. There is nothing different. And guess what? I just made it to the national championship with Washington just a couple of seasons ago. And so that's all he has to do is say, hey, listen, you can think that this program's changing, but guess what? I'm still here, the program is still here, and I'm coming in and bringing a heck of a staff with me. And so I think recruits are looking at that, and obviously I think Alabama's going to be just fine, especially this year when you look at the talent on that side of the ball.
Oh yeah, because like I'm excited about what the offenses are bringing on both sides. Like the Oklahoma offensive line. How you feeling about it, man? Like good, bad, or ugly?
I'd say good. Feeling really optimistic about Oklahoma's offensive line. Of course, you look back to last season and that offensive line, you didn't have the same starting rotation offensive line through the first at least 5 or 6 weeks, and because of injuries, just constantly rotating guys out. The good news this season about what happened last season was that young guys got a lot of meaningful playing time. Young guys got in there and got their feet wet on the field. And so that was very important for the Oklahoma Sooners. And, you've got guys like Jacob Sexton coming back, who I think is going to be your leading left tackle. And right behind him, you've got the 5-star, as long as everything's okay with him. He did have a little bit of issues in the heat the other day. But, you've got the 5-star Michael Fasusi, who I think is expected to be right up there, possibly getting some playing time a little bit here this year. And then, of course, with Heath Azeda, who is also another big-time guy, Eddie Pierre-Louis, both of them kind of heading up. I think those are the two guys to look at your left guard position. Troy Everett is the guy that would be expected to make the start at center, just because of his veteran, his veteran presence, but with Jake Mikula, who came in from Stanford, he very well could be stealing that starting position at center, which is a battle that's heating up. And then, I think again, you look at a couple of younger guys, but Fabechi Wiwu, who got a lot of meaningful playing time last year, and he's going to be on the field up there, and he's been having a really good camp. And then, of course, you got the big transfer from one of the Carolina teams, and I'm forgetting which one now, Eastern Carolina, I think it was, in Derek Simmons. Huge dude, behemoth of a man, kind of shoring up that right tackle. And if he doesn't come in there, you've got Logan Howland, who everyone saw last season, another guy with plenty of playing time. So, I mean, it's an offensive line that feels much stronger, much deeper than a season ago. But then on top of that, what you're seeing and what you're hearing out of even back in spring camp and fall camp now that you didn't hear from last season was how competitive this offensive line has been against one of the best defensive lines in the nation that Oklahoma has. So, the offensive line has been looking really good. A lot of good things that have been heard about them throughout camp.
Oh yeah, I'm getting excited just thinking about what the O line will bring in Norman. I know Auburn's going to be real sorry to go against them. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting matchup.
Maybe they can get some of their Cincinnati's to help them out, or get their 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if they play all 3 quarterbacks, it might throw Oklahoma off just a little bit.
Oh yeah, getting all my shots out before I get playing tomorrow. Well, for the next edition. So just kind of getting it all out of my system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, but the defenses. Now we get to the defenses. So Crimson Tide's got LT Overton, Tim Keenan, James Smith, Justin Jefferson. No relation to the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, of course. Oh man, I don't think his parents are sitting there thinking, "Oh, he's gonna have the same name as a Vikings wide receiver."
Yeah, a guy that's only just a few years older than him too, so he wasn't even anything whenever he was first born.
Nope. But we are gonna have like Devontae Jackson and Deontay Lawson. I'm excited to see Xavier Brown, and we're gonna see Dijon Lee. Because like Mr. Lee's a freshman, like we're gonna be seeing him on the field. That's gonna be fun to watch. I cannot wait to see what the Bama defense will bring throughout 2025.
Yeah, it's a tough defense. They're known for having that tough defense, and so and again, like I said, just because Saban's gone doesn't mean that that's going to go away.
No, it never will. It never will. Oh man, it's just gonna be tenacious. It's gonna be ugly going against them. I know LSU's gonna learn quite a lot about it.
Yeah.
They got smacked by a team. It's like they can brag all they want, but you got smacked by a team that lost to Vandy for the first time since 1984 and the first time in Nashville since 1969.
Yeah.
So, oh man, that's
getting all your shots out tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm just kind of getting them all out while I still can. Oh man, but I can't really say anything too negative about Josh Heupel though. Brings that Bobby Hill riz out.
Yeah, definitely does. Definitely does.
Oh, I'm like watching the King of the Hill revival, and I'm like, oh, that's Josh Heupel. Nice. Oh man, but yeah, like the Alabama defense, it's gonna look really good. It's loaded, but how are you feeling about the OU defense?
First of all, you got one of the best, I would say, top 3 defensive coordinators running that defense, and Brent Venables. So he's taken over that defense for himself. No question marks there. We know what Brent Venables is capable of. We know that he's got national championships because of the defenses that he's ran. So that's the biggest reassurance that you've got over there. And then you just look down the list. I think when you've got Jaden Jackson, who I believe was a 5-star, right? No, that's right. He was only a 3-star and ended up being a freshman All-American last year, and surprising a lot of people. I think people within the building weren't quite as surprised because they knew what he was capable of. But Jaden Jackson, David Stone's been having an incredible camp. The guy that was in the portal for a whole 48 hours and right back to Norman. He's been having an outstanding. That really was a 5-star guy. So a couple of guys there, and you've got Marvin Jones, former 5-star, transferred in from Florida State, came into Oklahoma to help out on the edge. I've been hearing a lot of great things about Taylor Wine, who's a depth player on the edge. And then, of course, I think your obvious guys that people all know about is you're going to have your R. Mason Thomas. You're going to have Kip Lewis out there on the field, Robert Spears Jennings. So, I mean, this is a defense that's just absolutely stacked, specifically up on that defensive line in the interior, on the exterior. And then you've got guys that are coming back and feeling really good from coming back from different rehabs and injuries. With hopefully Kendall Dolby is able to get through and get himself right for the big bulk of the season. You got Gentry Williams, who also is a guy that hasn't seen a whole lot of play time, but Oklahoma fans know what he's capable of out there at corner. And then, of course, you've got standouts like Eli Bowen. You've even got young guys out there at corner that are stepping up a bit in a big way and could be the next freshman big-time defensive player for Oklahoma, and guys like Cortland Guillory. Hearing a lot of great things about Reggie Powers, who's been getting some first-team reps over Peyton Bowen even in fall camp at strong safety, and he could also be seeing some Cheetah as well this year, so kind of a two-way player. So, I mean, it's a defense that just goes down the list with big-time talent, a lot of guys that can get in there and love to create havoc over there on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot wait to see some more Marvin Jones throughout
Yeah.
2025. Like, it's gonna be fun.
And to put him on the other side of the field, or on the other side of the line from R. Mason Thomas, which way do you protect more? Which one do you want to step back and double team? Because you can only choose one.
Can't have both.
Exactly.
Oh man, like Brent Venable's gone back to his bread and butter for a little bit. It's gonna be awesome.
And he's finally got his guys in his system too. It's no longer no longer any excuses for who you've got out there. It's your guys that you've recruited, that you've pulled into this team, and so it's time for him to show why those guys are his guys.
Oh yeah, because like I know like 2 years ago there was tenacious debates between Oklahoma and USC about Lincoln Riley and Brent Venables, and I think the debate's kind of closing at this point, but I don't think people are debating it as much really because they're kind of like, we got to see what Lincoln can do first.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I just mentioned this on Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football yesterday. I think it was that you know what you're going to get out of Brent Venables so much that and you look back to last season and what kind of defense he had, a defense that won 6 games by themselves with no help from the offense whatsoever. That's really what that felt like all season long. If you were to give Oklahoma a top 30 offense this season, no doubt in my mind they win 10 games, and they're 10 games. Obviously, they're in the college football playoff with 10 games with that resume. So, I think with a top 30 offense with that paired with that defense, you for sure have a playoff team and a national championship contender in Oklahoma.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And it seems to me like Oklahoma has to take care of a few things, and again, they'll be good to go.
Yeah, and some people might forget what Oklahoma is what the Oklahoma fan base and what that program is used to. A lot of people forget that Oklahoma is still a blue blood. They're still considered a blue blood, and they're still right there on the verge of getting back to that prominence. And so it feels like as long as everything on paper plays out the way that it should, that this could be that season.
Oh yeah, I mean, because like it's not like they're Miami or anything. It's like, good God, it's like Miami has only been to a conference game once since they joined the ACC.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like people are acting like Oklahoma's Miami. It's like, oh, Oklahoma's going to fail in the ACC. It's like, I wouldn't say that.
Well, and I was just talking to Chris Phillips the other night, and he was even mentioning, it's like when Oklahoma and Texas were coming over, everyone kind of acted like, because Texas went to the Big 12 championship and won it the last season in the Big 12, everyone just acted like, oh, we're getting Texas and Oklahoma's coming along. But Oklahoma said, whoa, whoa, pump the brakes. It's been Oklahoma running the Big 12 for the last decade or more. Oklahoma had a stint where they had 6 Big 12 championships in a row, and without a doubt, without a challenge. So it was definitely an Oklahoma team that was used to running that conference, and Texas really just kind of tagged along there for the minute. It's just that Texas definitely got the upper hand in the transition, and they definitely got off on the right foot. They set themselves up better than Oklahoma, and of course, a big part of that was your head coach kind of left you in the middle of the night, in the midnight hour, and you kind of scrambled there in your last season of the Big 12 to hurry up and put something together and get prepared for the SEC. And so, ultimately, I think it was just fine. I think Oklahoma will be just fine, and I think this season is the season that you learn whether they are or not.
But at least you guys won't play your rivals. Like whereas like Lincoln Riley's like, nope, nope, I'm not going to SC. Nope, I don't want USC playing Notre Dame on an annual basis.
Well, and just remember, it wasn't Brent Venables or anyone from Oklahoma saying that they didn't want to play Oklahoma State. I think that was on the other foot.
That was Mike Gundy, no doubt about that.
Well, and they're playing
That
each other in basketball, in both women's and men's basketball. They're playing each other in softball. They're playing each other in baseball. You tell me that it wasn't the football program, and maybe somebody specific in that football program with a helmet for hair that didn't want to play that game anymore. And I don't know why, but yeah, there's somebody specific on a specific team there that doesn't want Oklahoma State to be playing Oklahoma.
sounds like we need to write some letters to the state legislature to make Oklahoma and Oklahoma State play each other every year. I think Oklahoma would be fine with it, but I think Oklahoma State's going to be kicking and screaming at Kroger about it.
It's one extra win for Oklahoma to tack on their schedule every year, so I'm okay with that.
Oh, no doubt. But overall, for this Alabama Oklahoma matchup, I'm leaning towards a revenge victory for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But if Oklahoma is upsetting Alabama again, then that really helps Brent Venables throughout
Oh yeah,
2020.
yeah, and I'm right there with you. I think when I gave my predictions for Oklahoma, I'm predicting 8-4 as we get closer to the season. And I mean, if everything falls in line, this is a 10-win team. But even if I were to give Oklahoma 10 wins, Alabama's one of them. I think Alabama, LSU are the two teams that I have the biggest question marks about Oklahoma being able to pull off to beat. And so I think those are the two teams that I have probably the most reservations on. I think Texas is another team that if Arch Manning can be the Arch Manning that the media is making him out to be, that could be a tough team for Oklahoma to beat. They want that game very badly. They need that game. But with if even if Oklahoma goes 10-2, I think one of those two losses feels to me like it's probably Alabama, especially being in Tuscaloosa, singing that Dixieland delight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like, it's going to be funny, though, where it's like 2025 be the fourth time that Alabama Oklahoma is a regular season matchup. Like, all
Yeah,
the regular season matchups of Alabama Oklahoma have all been in the 21st century.
yeah,
Good grief.
yeah. That is
Like,
that is pretty crazy.
and here's a crazy fact about like the 70 Blue Blunt Bowl. That was like a disaster. That was like a 24-24 tie for Alabama and Oklahoma. I mean, that was a horrible year for Alabama that year. But it was like one of the few games that season where you saw like Alabama wearing the white helmets on that one. It's like I remember like watching like a 5-second highlight of it on like a Bama's Grace Games VHS tape for 71 Bama USC. It
Yeah,
was like, wow.
yeah. I
But
mean, it's been a lot of fun. I've actually got the hat right there. That one's the Sugar Bowl between Oklahoma and Alabama.
oh man, the 2014 one. I was like,
Yeah,
oh man.
2014.
That was the thing I've noticed about like Bob Stoops, like in the later years of him, was when nobody was talking about Oklahoma, they thrived.
Yeah,
But when everybody was talking about Oklahoma, particularly 2014, for example, or 2011, they disappointed everybody. Bless you.
thank you. Yeah, and that's why they nicknamed him Big Game Bob.
I was like, did they mean it in sarcasm or something? Because I'm not getting it.
Yeah, yeah, he got himself to the big games, but it was always hard for him. See, he made it. Of course, his first national championship won there. Lost to USC, lost to Boise State, lost to Florida. There might be one more that I'm missing in there, but of
West
course,
Virginia in the 2008 Fiesta Bowl on
yeah,
January 3rd of 2008 on Fox.
yeah, that's another one. And then of course, he made it to the playoffs. Couldn't quite get over the hump against Clemson. And then, after that, of course, seemed like that curse kind of followed along with Oklahoma the rest of the times that they made it to the playoffs as well, losing to LSU big time, getting whooped there, just barely getting beat by Georgia, getting beat by Alabama in the playoffs. So yeah, it's rough for Oklahoma when they make it to those big games. But of course, the biggest issue, specifically in those Lincoln Riley days, were where's the Oklahoma defense? They've got the offense. Where's the defense? Now, see, that's on the other foot. They've got the defense. Where's that offense?
Oh, and I was a day off. It was January 2nd, 2008 on
Uh,
the OA
you were
Fiesta
almost
Bowl.
there. You were there. You're
Post
close.
production,
You're closer than I would have been.
but I was at least right on the network I was on.
Yeah.
It was like it was a major butt whipping. But like Bill Stewart was interim coach that night, but after that, nope. Oh man. Well, all right, Josh. What have you got going on in your world this week, good buddy?
You can always catch me on Tuesdays and Thursdays over at Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football. I do contribute to OU Insider, so go check out ouinsider.com. If you're an Oklahoma fan, then that is the best place to go for all of your Oklahoma inside scoop and all that kind of stuff over there. Brandon Drum, Parker Thune, Jesse Crittenden, all those guys do a great job over there. And then, of course, Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. SEC at the Voice of College Football now on Wednesdays, live with Blake Lane over there, host of Auburn at the Voice of College Football. So a lot of fun. Got whole week basically packed for Oklahoma fans and college football fans to tune in and check it out. We're getting closer to college football season, man. This weekend, already got some college football on TV, so I'm excited.
There you go, man. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Publix about the magic that Josh Mahler is bringing all right there on OU Insider, Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football, and on SEC Primetime Live Wednesday nights with Blake Lane. And of course, you can check me out on Alabama at the Voice of College Football Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Well, Mondays and Thursdays, I believe, for Alabama with the Voice of College Football on Crimson Tide Live and on the Alabama College Show. But of course, you can check me out on the post-game shows every game after it happens, where me and some friends go over our take on the Crimson Tide, on what happened and what needs to be done in the next coming weeks, and so on and so forth. And of course, you can check out my personal channel, Jackson Johnson 979, where I've got my show, The Jacksonian, with numerous guests all lined up. And I can tell you, you're going to be in for a fun ride. And I do numerous collaborations with Sports Talk with Austin and Will and D and many more people on there. And for more updates on what I've got going on Alabama with the Voice of College Football or The Jacksonian or my once-week calls on The Feinbaum Show, check me out on Jackson VOCFB on @/Twitter and on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543-908. And with that being said, like, comment, subscribe to Alabama at the Voice of College Football and Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football so you never miss another video or another episode from either channel whatsoever. And we will see you soon. And roll Tide!